If you think the biggest challenge in AI today is just building the smartest algorithm, well, you're already a step behind. The game has totally fundamentally changed. Today, we're going to dive into the new hurdles that are quietly reshaping the entire AI landscape. And honestly, they have almost nothing to do with the code itself.
So let's just ask it outright. What is the single biggest threat to AI innovation right now? Is it some rival's big breakthrough, a brand new technology? The real answer is probably not what you're thinking.
It's not the technology. For really the first time, the biggest obstacles aren't coming from inside a research lab. They are powerful external forces. A serious reality check for an industry that has, let's be honest, kind of innovated in a bubble until now.
So this really marks a new era for AI. Innovation isn't happening in a vacuum anymore. It's colliding head-on with the very real, very messy constraints of the world we all live in.
This collision is playing out on three new battlegrounds. First up, you've got distribution, just the simple act of getting your product to users. Second is compliance, navigating this growing, complex maze of rules. And third, infrastructure, the surprisingly fragile systems that literally keep the lights on. Let's tackle that first one. Our first challenge is a new set of incredibly powerful gatekeepers. And I'm talking, of course, about the app stores, the platforms from Apple and Google that basically control access to every single user on the planet. You know, the rules for success used to feel pretty simple. The best, smartest, most innovative AI would win, but not anymore. App Store algorithms are now designed to reward one thing above all else: user engagement. This creates a really brutal environment where a truly groundbreaking new app can get completely buried just because it hasn't built up the engagement metrics the gatekeepers are looking for. So for product managers out there, the old mantra of build it and they will come, yeah, that's dead. The new playbook demands a proactive distribution strategy, one that doesn't just rely on a single gatekeeper. And it means you have to build features for user retention right into your minimum viable product. It can't be an afterthought. But it's not just corporate gatekeepers you have to worry about. A second, and arguably just as powerful, group is changing the game. I'm talking about the government rulemakers. Just take a look at California's new Algorithmic Impact Assessment, or AIA. Now, this isn't a friendly suggestion. It is a mandatory evaluation for any company using automated systems that affect consumers. And here's the real kicker. It has to be done before the product ever sees the light of day. This process forces compliance deep into the design process itself. You can't just slap it on at the end. Companies are now required to systematically assess their risks, actively test their own AI for hidden biases, and then report those findings out to the public. This goes way beyond a simple privacy policy checkbox. So the big takeaway for product managers here is that transparency is no longer a nice to have. It's a core product requirement. From day one, you have to design your systems with clear audit trails and user-facing explanations, basically making compliance part of the user experience itself. And finally, we hit our third and honestly most physical challenge, a problem that people are starting to call the power wall, the hard physical limit of our energy infrastructure. If you want to understand the sheer scale of what's happening, just look at this number. NVIDIA's data center revenue is up a staggering 279% in 1 year. Why? Because every company on Earth is trying to buy the computing power needed to run AI models, and that demand is absolutely exploding like nothing we've ever seen before. And here is the core problem in a nutshell. Demand for AI compute is skyrocketing, but the growth of our electrical grids, it just can't keep up. This creates a massive infrastructure gap. And look, this isn't some problem for the future. It's already causing increased latency and service disruptions today. So what's the answer? In a word, resilience. Product teams now have to actually audit their exact energy needs and plan for a future where that power isn't guaranteed. This means building fallback strategies like graceful degradation, which is a fancy way of saying you have to make sure your product doesn't just crash, but can still offer some basic functions even if its core AI features are temporarily offline. Okay, so when you take a step back and you combine all these forces, the platform gatekeepers, the government rulemakers, and that very real power wall, you realize the playbook for building a successful AI product has been completely rewritten from the ground up. As one source put it so well, AI strategy is no longer just a technical challenge. It's now a multidimensional strategic puzzle, where you have to connect platform politics, regulatory frameworks, and physical infrastructure all at the same time. And this is not a theoretical puzzle. The consequences are very real, and they are massive.
A recent survey found that 73% of Fortune 500 companies are seeing their AI projects delayed, specifically because of these new compliance and regulatory hurdles. The stakes for innovation are incredibly high. So, the crucial point here is that the playbook has changed. Success in AI today is about navigating distribution, designing for compliance, and planning for scarcity. But that just begs the question, what's the next hurdle on the horizon? And that leads us to the final looming question. We've talked a lot about California, but all eyes right now are on the European Union's landmark AI Act. Could this even stricter set of rules become the new de facto global standard that every company, no matter where they are in the world, has to follow? Well, that is the next chapter in this story. Thanks for joining me on this one.